Devy Degens, welcome back to another episode of really positional breakdowns. And this week, we are going to break down our running backs, give you our top 15, some sleepers, and some running backs you should cash out on. And don't forget, we're going to do an all-out running back mock draft. This is a Devy Degens. I'm S.C. Romero. That's Tom Harvey, right after our intro.
Breaking down the hate, man, we call it like we see it. Finding all the gems while the rest just sleeping. Freshmen to the league, we ahead of the curve. Picking out the next star, put them on the reserve. From the big time schools to the deep cut finds. Gotta know who's next when it's draft day time. Stock rising, playmaking, watch them ball out. Devy Degens, yeah, no doubt. Yo, it's time to talk the future Devy style. Prospects rising, diamonds shine, and only the real ones grinding. Welcome to the Devy Degens, let's go. Let's go!
Finding the next stars when it's draft day time. That's what we do here at the Devy Degens, help you find the next stars. I'm S.C. Romero with my co-host Tommy Harvey. How are you doing today, Tommy?
Oh, man, I went and played golf this afternoon. I'm doing well.
Nice. So you do good, or do we all want to talk about that?
I only play whenever I go during the afternoon. I only play 9. I shot 39, so I mean it wasn't terrible.
Hey, you got out on the green right now. It's still good. I'm assuming there's good weather. Then it wasn't too hot for you.
Oh yeah, it was good. I mean it was a little warm,
Nice.
but I mean it's middle of summer, so we
There you go. Well, hey, glad you got in some holes there to talk about some running backs. You know, ironically, you were getting some holes there. We're going to talk about some running backs that we see hit the holes pretty well as well. So before we get into our rankings, we're going to do a little this or that on this episode. Again, this is the Devy Degens. Don't forget to subscribe, join us in the chat. You know, we love to communicate with y'all as well. But a little this or that for you, Tommy. Would you rather take the Georgia running backs or Alabama running backs?
Now, are we talking the room, or are we talking like just one individual, or
the room? The room, not overall, just like right now. What you see the room, Georgia.
The room. I'd rather have Alabama.
Okay.
Georgia looks like they only got one guy. That's, I mean,
the guy.
Josh McCray may end up being okay.
He's from Illinois.
Illinois. Yeah, I mean he's been hurt quite a bit, but
yeah.
So I mean he's really kind of a wait and see type of guy.
Right.
Branson Robinson doesn't seem like he's ever going to turn into anything.
Yeah. What could have been?
Yeah. Or Roderick Robinson. Anyway.
Well, Branson too. I mean, he's transferred out, but
Branson's at Georgia State now. But
he transferred.
Roderick Robinson. I mean, and then they got Cash Jones there. He's fine, whatever. But you know Alabama, you know with Jan Miller and Akylin Deer, and they still got a couple other guys there that have kind of trickled through the last couple of years in the recruiting classes. They're pretty highly regarded. So as a room, I'm going to take Alabama. As an individual, I would take Nate Frazier.
Queen on Nate Frazier. We'll talk about him later. No, I like that. I agree. I think Alabama's running back room is a lot. I think with them losing Jalen Milroe, their running back room has been kind of underrated in what they've done. They've still been doing pretty well. Like Jim Miller, great running back that I don't get, is not getting a lot of love, but definitely a top RB when it comes to the SEC. I feel like, and with no Jalen Milroe, they might have to rely on it a little bit more as far as the running backs is moving the chains, because Milroe's not going to be able to do that, or I should say because Simpson or Mack. Maybe Akylin, but I don't think he starts the very beginning of the season, but I do see him starting potentially at the end there. Now, next one, would you rather have the Texas backfield or the Miami backfield?
Oh, this isn't even close as Texas's backfield to me. Cedric Baxter, when healthy, may be RB1 overall. And then Trey Wisner has completely jumped into my top 10 now. So I've got two Texas running backs in my top 10.
Fair.
I don't have any Miami running backs in my top 15. So
a little different there because I have them both in my top 15 there, but that's why I play the game.
That, and I also like Jarrett Gibson. I think he has a little bit of a future too.
Yeah.
I want to see him get on the field a little bit more, but it's not going to happen until those other two are gone.
For sure, for sure. Speaking of Miami's running back, I think they have a nice little combo in Thunder and Lightning with Mark Fletcher Jr. and Jordan Lyle. So I think both of them, if they do it well, they could definitely be a good 1-2 punch, possibly one of the tops in the nation. Again, if they do it well there. David Martinez kind of took a lot of that juice away from Mark Fletcher last year. He still got his, but David Martinez was the primary back, where now I think they can run a little bit of a committee, and both can excel when they kind of run that type of committee. We saw it last year with Texas as well, but kind of a committee approach with just multiple people getting their hands on the rock there. So it'll be interesting when Baxter is healthy, if he's the full guy, or if they're still going to incorporate Trey Wisner, even Jarrett Gibson in there as well, or is it going to be a one-man show kind of with Baxter? Because I agree, when he's healthy, we're talking about him as a top 5, if not the 1 overall when it comes to Devy running backs. The issue is, can he be healthy? He kind of got hurt last year, they banged him up. Does that linger over to this upcoming season, or is he fully recovered and going in further? That's something we always look for when it comes to these running backs, or any position for that matter that gets hurt. How are you reacting? Because training camp is good, but how they're moving the training camp, yes, you could go off that, but then once you get hit, how does that impact you? Sometimes these guys, it's a mental game. You get one big hit, and it kind of shakes you out the rest of the season. I could talk on Noah Whittington for Oregon, solid back, but it was a mental game coming back, going through recovery, and afraid to necessarily get that same kind of pressure on the hits to go in there and be the best you can as well. So I hope the recovery went well. Hope everything's well for CJ Baxter, and he actually comes in and showcases, hey, I'm a top running back in the nation, because he can be.
Yeah.
Wait and see.
I see that Texas backfield shaking out, kind of like what Ohio State did last year, and kind of what the Georgia backfields did in the past with like Sony Michel and Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
Where they're just going to have two guys who can carry the load at any point in time,
Right.
and they're going to keep each other fresh too. So,
For sure,
I really like what they built there in their backfield. Arch Manning's going to have plenty of help.
Yeah, 100%. And that's also a little scary. I feel like compared to Texas's Arches, he can't run as well. So does that take away some of it? It won't take away a lot, because he's not, I always say he's a natural runner, but he can still run. So you're definitely going to get some rushing yards away from some of these running backs based on what Arch can do. Hopefully it's not designed Arch run plays, and it's just he's escaping the pressure and he's forced to run and making those big kind of moves. But time will tell. But with that,
I've said it in the past where I don't believe Texas will have a 1,000-yard rusher this year.
right.
But I think they're going to have multiple guys that are 800-900 plus.
And sometimes when you see those players that don't get 9,000 or 1,000 yards, 1,000 yards rushing, that's not that big of a deal. I mean, you got to look at the system and what they did. Sometimes it is a committee approach, and then you look at wow, 3 or 4 guys had 600-700 yards. Then it's like, okay, it makes sense, because had this guy got all of it, maybe he's getting 1,200-1,300 yards as well. Jamie, my guy, thanks for joining in. Welcome into Devy Degens. But let's go into our rankings here. With the 101 in rankings, Tommy, I'll let you start off, because I think you have a favorable 101.
Yeah, my 1-1 right. My top running back right now is Jeremiah Love. Just kind of you saw a lot of his attributes last year. Real good contact balance, real nice agility and speed. That hurdle he had in the USC game was just unreal. And I have him as my RB1. That could change if Darius Taylor can prove that he can stay healthy throughout the entire season. I do like Darius Taylor's game a little bit more, but he's been nicked up way too much.
Yeah,
for me to be able to put him at the RB1.
Kind of like a Devin Austin though, kind of style where he's big enough that when the games he's healthy and in, he can make an impactful game. But can he do the whole season kind of deal? My 101 is not Jeremiah Love. It's actually going to be Georgia's running back, Nate Frazier. Now, I say that because as a true freshman in the SEC, I saw what it takes to be a lead back. I saw him go in and just when he got the rock, when he stepped on the field, it's like this is a running back that's ready to play, not only in the SEC, but also in the pros. And this is as a freshman coming in and doing it. He took the leads and he didn't give it back. Even when Trevor Etienne came back, he still wasn't good enough to even be their guy anymore. It was really Nate Frazier as the top back. He really reminded me of Sony Michel when he was there, and really just went in there and dominated. He showed great vision. You mentioned contact balance. He had that as well. I do want to see a little bit more in the passing game for him, but I really feel, especially with Georgia and how they produce their running backs, this is going to be a guy we're talking about as a top prospect, potentially a first rounder, assuming he continues the trajectory that he's on as a true freshman as well. So I have him as the number one overall Devy running back right now.
Yeah, I just really hope that he doesn't screw up his knees like Sony Michel did.
Yeah, no, I'm not comparing the knees. I'm just saying the running style and mentality, like bring up the
Sure.
injuries. But no, for sure. No, I think he could be great, and I think Jeremiah Love is a great reason to have number one. I understand it, but I think Nate Frazier coming in and saying it at the get go, I saw everything I needed to see to say, okay, this could be a top back moving forward. Now, number two, we also have some differences. You mentioned Darius Taylor. He is your two.
Yeah, Darius
Okay.
Taylor is my my RB2. He
Okay.
has he's got kind of the prototypical size. He's a bell cow running back. I just want to see him stay healthy. If he stays healthy, he can definitely vault up to the RB1 spot.
100%. That's why I don't have him RB2. I have him a little further down here. But we'll talk about him when I get to him there too. My number two is going to be a guy that has stayed healthy, has shown it. The thing is, now can he show it in the big leagues, I guess you can say,
Right.
because he's moving up to the power four. That is going to be former Tulane running back Mekhi Hughes. And the reason why I have him at the number two, above Jeremiah Love, above Darius Taylor, is because back-to-back seasons at Tulane, 1,300 yards. You can say what you want. It's not power four. I get it. But Oregon has shown they can produce these running backs. And going to the Big Ten, I think Mekhi Hughes is the type of running back they really need to win the games. They don't need that speedster. Mekhi's strong and fast, but he's not Bucky Irvin. He's not Jordan James. But he is a physical runner. He can hit the holes adequately, and he can maintain his balance when he's getting hit with between those bigger guys, between the tackles and everything like that. So I think this is a perfect fit. I think it's what Oregon needs. I think it's what Mekhi Hughes needs to really elevate both of them. It's going to elevate Oregon's offense. It's going to elevate his game because, again, he's playing with the big leagues, and I feel he could really take it to that next level. It seems the Oregon offense under Will Stein has really taken guys from transfer portals and really shown off their true assets and their true skills to say, hey, you are top prospects. You're going in the first round, going in day two. And I think Mekhi Hughes can do that within year one as well.
Yeah, I don't have him as high as you do. He's a little bit further down my list just because I want to see him prove it
Fair.
in a major conference. But
Fair.
the AAC is it's a high G5. So
Yeah.
I just want to see him do it against elite competition.
Right.
If he can, then obviously he's going to vault up my rankings pretty high.
And it may take week four, so I feel for other people to catch on or say, oh, wow, I could move him up the rankings too. Because those first couple of weeks, you got to get their feet under them and stuff like that. But then you see a lot of times that second half of the season, these guys really take off. Now, I do want him to get it going right away, but it's going to take some time for sure. Now, number three, who's your number three?
My number three is Nate Frazier. You kind of talked about him a minute ago. He's got everything that a first round running back should have.
Right.
He's got good size. He's got great speed. He's got great vision. To me, he's a year behind these guys. So I just kind of kept him behind Jeremiah Love and Darius Taylor strictly because he's not going to be usable for another year after these guys are. So
Right.
If he was the same class, he probably would be RB1.
Yeah. No, I mean, the freshman, you talk about two freshmen, what Nate Frazier did. Darius Taylor, he dominated, and that was in 6 games, I think. Yeah, he was easily one of the best running backs within 6 games. If he had that full season, it would have been absolutely insane. He probably would have honestly could have put up Gentry's numbers. Not even joking. He was doing that good. So I definitely get it when it comes to Taylor and stuff like that. When it comes to my number 3, I'm going there with Nicholas Singleton. At Penn State, reason why I have him there is he has really shown that he doesn't need to be the lead back to be dominant. And that's what I really like, especially with today's modern NFL. He doesn't need to be the powerhouse back. He can be, but he's also very agile, can move outside, can play in the zone as well. But also with Kaytron there, he has shown, look, I don't need every single touch to still maintain a good yard per carry and still maintain some good rushing yards for the season as well. So I have Nick Singleton at 3. I think he could definitely be one of the top backs potentially in this draft class moving forward as well.
Yeah, sure. Singleton to me just kind of has a kind of inconsistent pad level. Um,
Fair.
he he'll have, you know, 3 or 4 runs where he looks amazing. Then he'll have another couple where it's just like he's running too high up. He's,
Right.
you know, which affects his agility, his mobility.
Yeah.
And I think he needs to get a little bit more consistent with his pad level when running. But his running style, I mean, he's a patient runner. He got good hands coming out of the backfield. His size, you know, kind of reminds me a little bit of like a Le'Veon Bell. So
Okay.
I
Love
can
it.
definitely see why you have him number 3. I just have him a couple spots lower.
Fair. Fair. Shout out Mad Dog. Thanks for joining in on the Devy Degens. No, I agree with that. You know, again, it's just more so he has it need to be the lead back, and it's one of those. If he
Mhm.
is, he could definitely dominate from there as well. Who do you have at RB4 right now?
My RB4, CJ Baxter. Like I said a
Okay.
few minutes ago, if when fully healthy, he is the best running back in the country, my opinion.
Okay.
He just everything you want out of a running back, other than coming off an ACL injury. So
Right.
to me, when healthy, he is the to me unquestioned RB1.
Yeah,
I just want to see him be fully healthy.
for sure. No, I love you said unquestioned, and yeah, it just has it comes down to the health for CJ Baxter. I mean, you go look at his high school tape; he was the RB1 coming in. I had a good season that he got hurt, and you know, injuries they linger, but sometimes the RBs, the wide receivers, whoever you want to talk about, thinks of it as nothing. They're just like, okay, I'm going out there and play the game again. So we can't see what Baxter does because he's easily the best running back when healthy in that Texas back room. So
Mhm.
we'll see what he can go on and do there as well. Uh, Glad I was shouting out here. Now my RB4 is finally I'm bringing in Jeremiah Love into my RB4. You know, I know again people have him at questions. You know, why do I have him as RB1? Again, Nate Frazier showed as a true freshman. Makai Hughes has some consistency in the past 2 years. Again, it was that Tulane, so taking that step to the Big Ten, I understand could be a difference. Nick Singleton has really shown it multiple years in a committee with Kaytron Allen still producing at high level. Now, Jeremiah Love, he had a great season last year. I understand you talk about wanting to see that consistency. I want to see it happen again. So to even move him up, but I'm still pretty locked in with these guys. The one he can overtake is Makai, right? And Makai doesn't show out in the way I expect him to. Then
Mhm.
sure, he could be bumped down there. But Jeremiah Love, for those reasons, I do have an RB4. Notre Dame has a great offense, you know, as far as protection, what they can do for him, blocking wise and opening those lanes for him. He has great speed. He has great, like you mentioned, contact balance. But I just want to see it for this next season as well to really have him overtake it. But I mean, if Nate Frazier takes that next step up, if Nick Singleton shows it off again, and Makai Hughes does it, you know, again, then it's going to be very hard for me to really bump up Jeremiah Love into those rounds because I think all of them could be great there as well. Now, who's your RB5?
My RB5's got Nick Singleton right here. You know, we just spoke
Okay.
about him. You had him number 3.
Yeah.
I've got him number 5. It's not too big of a difference there. Like I said, I want to see a little bit more consistency with his pad level when he's running.
Right. No, that's fair. I absolutely, I love it. I get Nick Singleton. I'm glad you still have him in top 5. Mine's Darius Taylor, and as you mentioned, you have him at 2. It's really just the health. I mean, that's the reason why I Baxter lower 2. Because when he's on the field, he is dominant, but he hasn't been healthy in his time in college. And if I get a full season of him just fully healthy, sky's the limit. He could be great. Again, I believe that freshman year, if he was fully healthy, he probably would have broke Ashton Gentry's record. I mean, don't believe me? Go watch the games he played and just see how great he was, and imagine him playing that for a full season. It really could be that great. So I do have Darius Terry at 5 there. Now, who is your RB6?
My RB6, I'm going to go with Justice Haynes. You know,
Love it.
he was a highly regarded, you know, 5-star running back coming into college. Went to Alabama. He never really got a lot of traction there. Transferring up to Michigan now, he's probably going to be the RB1 up there. If he doesn't end up being RB1, then that's a major red flag with Jordan Marshall there, obviously. But
Yeah.
you know, Justice Haynes getting a lot of preseason buzz right now. People say he looks great. So if that's indeed true, if he's kind of living up to what his potential is, then you know I don't have an issue with putting him number 6 right here.
Yeah, absolutely love it. I mean, Haynes, he's in the right system now too. I mean, he was at Alabama, so I get it. But I mean, also Michigan, a nice program that knows how to use the running backs as well. He could definitely be the spark that they need just to see him go a little bit faster. Last year, it seemed like it was a little slower down for them. I know Khalil Millings kind of stepped up, but Haynes could really be that spark they need to really inspire that offense to move a little quicker down the field as well. Now, my number 6. I just think about this one, but I'm really high on this guy too, and it might surprise people. And honestly, I go between him and Makai Hughes as far as the transfer going to the big leagues, if you will. That's gonna be Ahmad Hardy at Missouri. Now, a guy that came out of Louisiana, if I'm not mistaken,
Louisiana
Louisiana
Monroe. Yeah.
Monroe, yeah. And he, when I'm looking at both him and Makai Hughes, Ahmad Hardy is a lot faster, in my opinion. He kind of hits the holes a lot quicker. Akai Hughes is more of the stronger back, where Ahmad Hardy is more of the elusive type, but also a power back that can get down as well. Missouri, the thing that worries me, but I do have this high, but the thing that worries me is Missouri did not really display a great line. I thought they were going to do good things with Nate Noel last year. It didn't happen. But I am excited to see what Ahmad Hardy can do in the SEC, because as a true freshman, he broke out and had, 1,300 yards, over 1,300 yards his freshman year. Sophomore season, he jumped up and said, I'm going to the SEC. It is Missouri. It is one of your bottom tier SEC schools, if you will. But I believe Ahmad Hardy could really be a push that they need to just go on and move towards that next level. They lost Luther Burtis, so you know that passing is not going to be as electric as it was. But Ahmad Hardy, I think, can jump in and be a stud if he goes in and continues what he did at Louisiana Monroe.
Yeah. I'm kind of going to play a little bit devil's advocate here.
Do it.
I don't have him in my top 15.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I probably wouldn't even have him in my top 20. Reason being is he's coming from a kind of a lower tier G5 school.
Right.
And they don't, I mean, the competition there is nothing compared to the SEC.
100%. SEC's the top.
Right. I mean, you know, I kind of said the same thing about Makai Hughes a little while ago. Which is why I kind of have him a little bit further down my list. And the AAC is a much better conference than what what Louisiana Monroe plays in.
For sure.
So, Ahmad Hardy is very much in a prove it stage right now.
Yeah.
For me and for a lot of other people too.
100%.
I don't have a problem with you kind of taking a swing here at him. Just because if it hits, you're going to look great, right?
Yeah, if I got on it,
right.
So,
but I'm real hesitant just because of competition level. He's jumping up big time in competition level here. So it's definitely going to be a prove it. You know, kind of a show me. You know, Fitz said he's going to Missouri, right? Kind of a show me. You know, type of season for him.
Shout out Jamie, have fun on your live. Amir coming in saying Darius is minimum top 3. He has him at 2, man, so he's right on it for you. OSU competition should be interesting for sure. OSU always has some great competition. That's how they win. They compete. No, I agree with everything you said about Hardy. I'm definitely higher on him than majority, if not all, of people that do Devy rankings. You agree on that prove it deal, and I really like what I see. Competition, sure, isn't it? And if he could translate what he does just with his own self, if he could translate that over, I don't think there should be an issue. Now, again, the SEC is a lot faster. It's a lot stronger when it comes to the defenders as well. So the hits he's taking at Louisiana Monroe aren't going to be the same hits he's taking in the SEC. So that could definitely play a factor as well.
Well, you know, he's been able to run away from linebackers.
Yeah,
you know, at his old school, he's not going to be able to run away from linebackers now.
Right. And then you also play the fact again, had it been he transferred over to Alabama and was the lead back, it'd be like, okay, I can see it. But I mean, I am taking it sweet. Him going to Missouri, it's not the best line when it comes to SEC offensive lines, you know. So he's got his work cut out for him. And that's where I kind of took the swing on. If he comes out and still produces in the way that he did, he doesn't need to do 1,300. I don't think that's got to. But if he could come out and do 700-800 yards, I still find that as a win in the sense of this is your first year in the SEC and you really took it by control. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do there at that next level. You know, again, if he's in there, hey, all praises to me. If he's not, I'll take the ownership and say, hey, I did have him that high there. Now, RB7, who do you have at RB7?
I have Jonah Coleman out of Washington.
Okay.
I think he's going to end up being kind of probably one of the top 5 RBs in this upcoming draft class.
Okay.
I think he's a really, really good pass catcher out of the backfield. And he's not huge, by any means, but he has enough size to be able to kind of take on defenders, I guess. He's not he's not huge, but the NFL kind of has moved away from those type of really big bulking backs, anyways.
Yeah, 100%. Now, Jordan Colbin's a great back to discuss as well because I think he's one of Washington's better running backs when it comes to it. And he actually does have the skill set to be a back that can make a difference. Now, I wouldn't say necessarily a lead back, like a full workhorse back, but he can definitely take the reins and be your 1 and 2, and then you have a third down there as well. But he has some good pass catching ability as well. So I believe he can be one of the prospects you're talking about as a top one, possibly a day 2 as well.
And very few teams have a just a bell cow running back in the NFL now. Most of them go with a 2 running back approach. So
100%. Yeah, you have all your true, bell cows, your bigger guys, Derrick Henry-esque type of deal. Which leads me to my next guy, running back 7. That's gonna be BYU's LJ Martin. Now, with the transfer of Jake Ratliff leaving there because of off the field things happening, but with that happening, kind of opens the door for this offense to really rely on LJ Martin to really step it up. Their quarterback room is going to be a question as far as what they can actually do. So I really think they're going to lean on LJ Martin, which is going to lead to a solid year of production, really showcasing his ability. He's a bigger back. He's one that can run straight through the tackles. He can run outside, but he's really going to find his specialty running straight to the tackles and really beating guys up, just physical as well. So I really believe BYU could really produce a solid RB here and showcase what LJ Martin could do as well.
Yeah, he reminds me a lot of Alfred Morris when he played for Washington. I think I kind of spoke on that a couple weeks ago whenever we were talking about the Big 12. LJ Martin, kind of that real kind of a bruising running back. He's got decent enough hands. I saw him I think I mentioned this also. I saw him catch a touchdown last year where he just kind of went over a guy and kind of spun off of him, caught it. So I mean that he shows good hands there. I would like to see a little bit more speed out of him.
For sure. Yeah, because he does get caught up.
Right. But he he does kind of fit that mold of kind of like a David Montgomery, where if you pair him with a more dynamic running back, he's very complimentary in running those 2 running back systems.
Yeah, one of the biggest downfalls I have when I'm watching his tape is he doesn't have that home run speed. He really has quick bursts out the gate. He can really get within those first 5-10 yards. He can make a play and make it happen, move the chains. But then he doesn't have that second gear to really beat those linebackers or those defensive backs. They will catch up to him. But again, it's all about the strength and just him moving the chains. That's why I love him there as well. Now, who do you have at RB8?
My RB8, here's a guy we've talked about a little bit, Mekhi Hughes.
Okay.
Like I said, I kind of have him a little bit further down here just because, I want to see him do it against better competition.
Right.
Playing at Tulane, he plays in the AAC, which isn't a garbage conference. They just don't play a whole lot of defense there. It's a lot of the time. I'd like to see him going up against teams like Ohio State and Michigan and USC and Washington and although
Indiana,
Penn State, Indiana, teams that could actually that actually do step up and play a little bit of defense.
Yeah, and I spoke on Mekhi Hughes. He was my RB2, but with him, they have a guy in Oregon, Jaden Lamar, who's very fast as well. So he's definitely gonna be their speedster. So if it's not working out for Mekhi Hughes, Jaden Lamar can easily be the guy that overtakes it because he is more of a faster guy. So if they're really trying to have that still Oregon approach, just really being quick and fast and agile, I see more Jaden Lamar going there. But if they want to enter that physicality of what the Big Ten's about, then Mekhi Hughes should be able to go out there and do it as well. Now, my RB8 here is going to be Florida running back Jaden Ball. Again, another true freshman that really showed out last year, who didn't get the full range all season, but he really did make an impact. I'm high on DJ Lagway, as y'all know. We both have him as a QB1 overall. I think Jaden Ball is a good complement to Lagway. He is very agile, very elusive, quick, but he's also strong. Again, displays great contact balance, also could go between the tackles, but he's really going to just be a good pair with DJ Lagway, where they could run some options if they need to. He can also be a running back that catches out the backfield as well. So I'm excited to see what he could do this year, freshman year. Great season from him. I enjoyed it. Now I want to see, all right, step it up even further, and I believe that is why I have him in the top 10 there.
Yeah, I really like Jaden Ball also as a running back. I would like to see a little bit more flexibility out of him.
Mm-hmm.
I think he runs a little stiff at times.
Sure.
I'd like to see a little bit more fluidity from
Yeah,
just have kind of his running style.
sure.
But anytime you can score 5 touchdowns in a single game in the SEC, you're doing something right. And he's got that kind of prototypical NFL size. I know I kind of spoke earlier about how the NFL doesn't really look at big bruising running backs the way that they used to. That they want a little bit more dynamic to them.
Right.
And that's kind of what I'm saying about his fluidity. I'd like for him to kind of show a little bit more flexibility there.
Right. No, I agree. And I mean, he'll need that, right? To be able to go and be the full workhorse. I mean, if he wants to stay healthy, he's gonna need to show a little bit more fluidity to avoid those first hits and get down the field a little bit more to get towards the lighter guys. Because if you're getting, tackled at that line of scrimmage, those are 300-pound linemen or 250, 45-pound linebackers. Go a little bit further, you're into some defensive backs there, maybe 220, 230, things like that as well. Now, who do you have at number 9?
My number 9 is Caden Durham out of LSU.
Love
a
it.
little bit on the shorter side, but he's pretty explosive now. He's a bowling ball when you get him going too. I mean, he doesn't care to pop somebody. And he had a terrific freshman season. And coming back for his sophomore year now, I just think the sky's the limit for this guy. I foresee him kind of jumping into that kind of top 2 or 3 range for me next year once a lot of these guys kind of age out.
Okay. He's a little bit further down for me, but I absolutely love it. I mean, you look at the offense. Once Caden Durham came in, they became the lead back of the offense transition, everything. They became a little bit more dynamic because of the ability of what Caden Durham can do, not only as a runner, but also as a pass catcher. I really don't think a lot of people are talking about his pass catching abilities, but he really is a great pass catching running back, and he can make those big plays. We talked about the second gear, the lack of the second gear for LJ Martin. Caden Durham does have that. He could really go off the sideline and then he's gone as well. Maybe he has to get his footing a little bit right, but I do believe he can be something great down the middle as well. It's hesitant for me. Why I have a little bit lower is because we'll talk about a guy you have later, but there's a freshman that's coming in that could make an impact that is pretty good as well. But I absolutely do love Caden Durham. I think he could be great. I'm just outside my top 10, so we'll bring that up here in a bit. Now, number 9 for me. This is where I have Justin Haynes. Again, transferred over. I was really high on him when he went to Alabama. He transferred out. Now he's going to Michigan. A system that might use him a little bit more. He has the lightning speed, or he had the lightning speed, so we got to see it. Jordan Marshall is there. Bryce Underwood's there. It's going to be interesting to see how they really run their system this year. Again, it's built off the running game where it has been in the past. So Justin Haynes can really do that, but I need to see him take that step up to really become upper echelon RB for me. But I do believe he can be a top running back as well.
Sure.
Now, when it comes to RB10, who do you have at RB10?
A guy that really stepped into the spotlight last year at Texas, Trey Wisner. Once CJ Baxter went down, he really took over as that lead back there in Texas. He was the A while Jaden Blue was was kind of the B. So Wisner obviously has the ability to. I mean, he ran for over 1,000 yards last year.
Yeah.
Now that was without CJ Baxter around. So like I said earlier, I don't think any Texas back gets to 1,000 yards this year. I think you're going to have a couple of them get 800-900 plus, but. But I think Wisner is a really fast rising prospect right now.
For sure. No, I absolutely love Wisner, and you brought up CJ Baxter. Last year was who's going to step up with Baxter going down. The thought was Jaden Blue. It was actually Travion Wisner that actually stepped up. So now it's again, if CJ Baxter is healthy, what is that going to do towards Weiser? Is he still going to be as efficient, or are they going to fully lean on CJ Baxter? That can definitely adjust it. I do think he's a great back as well. He showed it, but is he great to keep Baxter off the field? I don't know that yet, right? So it's like that's where I kind of have him not within my top 15, but I think he is a great running back. He displayed it as, taking over Jaden Blue, because I actually like Jaden Blue too. I thought he was a great running back, but he again was overshadowed by Travion Wisner. So I'm excited to see what he can do again. For the Texas backfield, it's all going to depend on what's happening with CJ Baxter, because he can easily, as you mentioned, RB1 overall, just be the guy we're talking about for ages, or he could just disappear. And now we're talking about Travion Wisner a lot more there as well. Now, my number 10 is going to be an Alabama running back, and that's freshman Alabama running back Akylin Deer. Now, he reminds me of Mark Ingram. I think that's why I've had him higher, because I think he's just a volleyball type of back, can also pass cats, also has speed. Is he their lead back this year? It's probably Jam Miller. But I really think Akylin Deer, if he goes in and takes the reins, he's not giving it up. And I really think he's going to be the focal point for the Alabama offense. Once Jam Miller moves out, it's going to be his show, and he's really just going to dominate, as Mark Ingram kind of did as well.
Sure. We talked about Deer, a few weeks ago during our SEC show. You said Mark Ingram. I think a little bit more Trent Richardson.
Yeah.
I think he has a little bit better speed than what Mark Ingram does,
For sure.
or Mark Ingram did. But I can see I can see where you're coming from by kind of comping him there.
Yeah.
I just see a little bit more Trent Richardson in him than I do Mark Ingram.
Fair. Richardson was still solid in college too at Alabama, so I'm not mad at that.
Mm-hmm.
It's really if they're taking the pro trajectory, I'd rather him and Mark Ingram than
Sure,
Trent Richardson's
yeah,
there.
right.
But still, solid backside. I think this could be a real shift in the offense for Alabama with the Keelan there as being more of a physical running back for them, and just moving those chains there as well. Now, number 11, I have a guy we already talked about, Caden Durham. Who do you have at number 11?
My guy is out of Wake Forest, Damon Claiborne.
Love it.
He plays for a really bad team, but he still puts out production.
Right.
You're kind of able to say the same thing about Darius Taylor not playing for a great team. Darius Taylor's team will still make a bowl. Wake Forest is bad though.
Yeah.
It would surprise me if they only win like 3 or 4 games this year. But this guy's still going to run for over 1,000 yards.
Yeah. No, you talk about. I mean, you mentioned Minnesota, a bad team. Minnesota produces running backs low key though. They have a solid running system there. Devon Claiborne,
Marion Barber forever.
Devon Claiborne, man, he's a solid back. Because you talk about an overall back though, he can do it all. He's a good pass catcher. He can run between tackles. He can run outside. He is really a solid piece. And losing him when Wake Forest does lose him, it's going to be hard for them to kind of replace that type of back, because they have relied on some field stretchers in the past, the guys that go deep as well. Now you have a guy that can really be an elusive pass catcher, but also be a guy that just moves the chains inch by inch as well, and Devon Claiborne. So losing him will really impact it. But I agree. He's a top running back, top 11. That's spicy, but I love it. I'm with it. I'm excited because I don't think a lot of people talk about those schools like a Wake Forest and the elite talent that they have, one being Devon Claiborne out of Wake Forest. So absolutely love it there.
Yeah, you jump in with the spicy comment, and you got Ahmad Hardy at number 6. So
there you go. Hey, I love the spicy though. I love the spicy. I might love it a little more than you. Now, RB12. This is a guy. I have Baxter. We've talked about Baxter again. Baxter, I'm probably lower. If he's healthy for 5 games, he can easily jump into like top 5 for me. Just because it's like, okay, I'll see it. But full game, again, he could step into a top 1. 12, it's the injuries that push him out of the top 11 for me. So I do have him there because he still is an elite talent. Still excited to watch him play. I had Caden Durham at 11, but the reason why I have Caden Durham not in my top 10 as you do is because of your top 12. Who is your 12th overall?
Yeah, my 12th is Harlem Berry, freshman running back for LSU. He reminds me a lot of Jahmyr Gibbs, just kind of watching his film.
Okay.
If he has, when he proves it, he's obviously gonna jump up. But
Right.
I have him at 12 just because I want to see what he does in the when he does in the SEC, right? So
Yeah.
I don't foresee just a ton of I don't see a ton of production from him his freshman year, just because
Yeah.
Durham, is going to be the man. But I think next season, whenever Durham's a junior and Barry's a sophomore, you're going to see a little bit more of an uptick there.
Our guy Dynasty Degens, fancy nerd boy, is telling us to say less. Not talking about Harlem Berry, but unfortunately we have to, man, because Harlem Berry is really a great candidate to really become the RB1. I mean, to many he is the RB1 of the freshman class. To me, I have Akylin above him, but I think Harlem Berry really can showcase some good skills, and it's gonna be interesting because you mentioned you don't see him taking a lot of snaps because of Caden Durham there. Well, Caden Durham did that as a freshman as well. So if Harlem Berry comes in and showcases those same elite traits as he does in the high school, but as what
Right.
Caden Durham did, I
Yeah, but
think the difference.
Durham really didn't do it until guys like John Emery went down with injury.
Yeah,
Then he started getting more and more play time. So
exactly. And I will say, I think Caden Durham's slightly better as a pass catcher. So I think that's going to be the difference in what can make him be their lead back moving forward as long as he stays healthy to get it, where that can really take off Harlem Berry. Maybe Harlem Berry comes in on a third down just to give him some breathing room. But I really think that Caden Durham is going to be their lead back there as well. But again, Harlem Berry, if he sees the field, if he gets a nice snap share, if it's like a 40-60 split, we may see a lot more excitement out of Harlem Berry than we did in Caden Durham. I'm not saying if he gets the 40% side of that there too. Now, lucky 13. Who do you have at 13 here?
Guy we talked about already. I've got Jaden Ball here. You have him at number 8. I've got him at number 13. Like I said, I want to see a little bit more flexibility, a little bit more fluidity from him.
Right.
If he can showcase that, then he, I wouldn't have an issue jumping him up in the top 10.
Okay. Now, guy, I have you bet you don't have any of this team's running backs in your top 15, but I have 2 of them. That's Miami's Mark Fletcher Jr. Absolutely stud. I mean, if he takes the range of what Damian Martinez did last year, he's absolutely going to be a monster. I mean, I was comparing him to Derrick Henry-esque when he was a true freshman, coming out as a freshman out of American Heritage. Just looked really good. He has some speed there. He is a little bulkier now, so he has lost some of that speed, but he is still a nice physical runner. Also a good pass catcher. I think an underrated pass catcher. Not great, but definitely an underrated one. But I really think he is someone that can really take it to the next level. And if he is considered the lead back, then it's going to be nice. Now, the guy I have later, he's someone that's going to play a factor in it. But Mark Fletcher Jr., I think, is a solid, consistent back that can get you 600-700 yards consistently. And if he gets the full range, he's a 1,000-yard rusher, in my opinion.
Yeah, I just look at him as kind of more of a plotter. I don't necessarily mind him. He's a short, to me, moving forward in the NFL, he's going to be a short yardage back. I don't see a whole lot of explosive out of him. Whereas Jordan Lyle has that. I like Jordan Lyle much more as a Devy asset than what I do Mark Fletcher.
Fair. Jordan Lyle is my 15 for those waiting for that. But who you said you have 13 Jaden Ball. Now who's your number 14 here?
One of my favorite CFF assets, definitely. But I think he's got a great future as an NFL back. I think he's better than the guy he's taken over for, and that's Quentin Joyner. Taking over for Taj Brooks at Texas Tech. Interesting fact, they went to the same high school. They were teammates in high school.
Oh, nice. Did not know that.
So I think Quentin Joyner is much more athletic. I think overall he's a better runner. I
thought he should have been the RB1 at USC last year, to be honest.
Well, yeah, probably. Woody Marks, to me was just a pass catcher. But Quentin Joyner, I think, is a really good overall runner. I don't think he has the vision Taj Brooks has, maybe just because he hasn't been able to showcase it. But I think as an overall running back, I think he's better.
I mean, Texas Tech has a good offensive line as well. I mean, Taj Brooks is that bowling ball type of running back. He was definitely breaking through tackles, but the Texas Tech line was giving him some holes. And if they allow that for Quentin Joyner as well, I mean, we're going to see. I thought he had great vision.
Faster.
Yeah, 100%. The tape I did see, he definitely showcased his vision, getting through the holes and everything like that. Again, I thought he should have been the RB1. I drafted him as the RB1 of USC last year, but they ended up giving that to Woody Marks. And as you mentioned, Woody Marks displayed better pass catching ability, so that's what they wanted to fit their offense.
Mm.
Quinn Joyner goes into a role where he should have no competition, really. It should be him taking the reins, given the fact that Charles Brooks just came back and had back to back 1,400 yards, something like that, could really step up and be Jordan could really do that. He's not gonna be as physical. I don't think he's gonna be a little bit more agile. He can get physical, but he's still gonna be able to make a huge impact for the Red Raiders there as well. So I absolutely love that. I think that's great. Now, speaking of a guy that makes an impact or can play type of a bowling ball, I have Penn State running back Kaytron Allen at number 14. Again, I have Nicholas Singleton a lot higher, but it's because I think Nick Singleton is more of an overall RB. Kaytron Allen, though, again, someone that displayed, he doesn't need to be the fullback to really be explosive or to really move the chains. And as you mentioned earlier, that's really kind of what a lot of NFL teams go for, is someone that could fit in the committee. If you're looking at a running back that's really the main back and they're not seeing that committee approach, in my opinion, it could hurt unless you're Bijan, Aston Genty, things of that nature. But it's like these guys, we look at Trayon Henderson, even Quinton Judkins. Judkins was a lead back, did great at Ole Miss. He had transferred to a team that he was in a committee approach with Travion Henderson, and they both still succeeded. They both still had high draft capital. I see the similarity with Kaytron Allen and Nick Singleton, where they could both be day two prospects simply because they're not lead backs, but they show, hey, I don't need to be to get the production there as well. So I have Kaytron at number 14 here.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with Kaytron Allen being in your top 15. He was right outside of mine. There is a little bit of a misconception that some people have that he's better than Nick Singleton. I don't think he's better. He's a different type of running back, sure. And they're very complementary towards each other.
Yeah,
but if you're looking at a 1-for-1 type of guy, it's Nicholas Singleton to me.
Yeah, 100%. And again, it could be on the game you watch, right? Because you could watch the game where Kaytron Allen had the better game. You're like, oh, he's the better back. But if you watch the overall season and you see what they're doing, then it's Singleton. Because again, that's the beauty of it, is they feed off of each other. One game, Kaytron Allen has 100 yards. Next game, Singleton has 150.
Well, and don't forget, we're looking at moving into the NFL with these guys. We're not talking about CFF production,
right?
If you're talking CFF production, then yeah, a lot of the times they kind of do go back and forth game by game with who their lead back is. Right. But as far as a Devy asset, to me, it's Nicholas Singleton.
Right.
I do like Kaytron Allen. He does have a place in the NFL. He's not
good size.
Yeah, but to me, he's not a lead back. He's a complimentary guy in a two-back system.
He's kind of like, to me, like a Ramondre Stevenson.
Sure.
Like, I don't consider Ramondre as a lead back. He has been, though. So if Kaytron steps into a role where he's in the committee, but then he has to take the reins, he could be that.
Yeah.
But he's not going to be drafted as that, if that makes sense. He's not going to be drafted as a lead back. But if he needs to take the reins, he could definitely lead the team as their lead back, but he's more of that committee type of guy there as well.
Yep.
Now, capping off our guys, we both have different guys. I'll go first because I've already kind of talked about him. For my RB15 here, I have Miami's other back in Jordan Law. You kind of already touched on him a little bit by saying he has a little bit more explosiveness. I agree. Yeah, Mark Fletcher is more of a power back type of guy, but again, I see Mark Fletcher has some speed. Jordan Law, though, has that home run speed. He has more agility, more elusiveness, but they are the perfect lightning and thunder here. You have the explosiveness of Jordan Law, and then you have the boom with Mark Fletcher as well. So to me, if they're used correctly, this could be very dominant as well. Nick Singleton and Kaytron Allen are similar, but Singleton has a little bit more strength to him. He's a little bit more 50-50. Like, he has good speed, has good strength. Jordan Law, I think, has great speed, has good strength. Mark Fletcher, I think, has great strength, has good speed. It's kind of flip-flop. So I really believe Jordan Law can help elevate them as well to get there. And this is a year where I really feel like, all right, Mark, I think you're the lead back here. What are you going to do with it? And then are you going to be taken over by Jordan Law, who might get less opportunities from you as well? Like, is Jordan Law going to have type of almost a Darius Taylor type of less opportunity but still make a big impact, or is he going to be impacting really Mark Fletcher as well? But I have him right there at 15.
Yeah, I think Jordan Lyle is going to average more yards per carry than what I mean. I think they're going to get similar amount of carries. It wouldn't surprise me if Jordan Lyle ends up with more yardage for the season.
That's fair. Excuse me, I can see that happening, possibly as well. Again, I think the explosiveness will definitely help him. Getting
Mhm.
more of those yards for sure.
Yeah.
Touchdowns. I may say Mark Fletcher might have more touchdowns though, just because he might be their goal line type of back.
Yeah, yeah. Fletcher
Mhm.
definitely touchdown wise, but I think overall yardage and pass catching and all that stuff out of the backfield, Jordan Lyle's the guy.
Mhm. Amir has a question here. He says hit him up offline, but what could I trade Allen for? I'm assuming he's talking about Kaytron. I mean, it really comes down to what you're looking for, what your team build is. Kaytron Allen, I think, has good value. You're not going to get one of these upper echelon backs. You're not going to go out there and get, I don't think, Mekhi Hughes for him,
No.
even though Mekhi Hughes transferred up. But, I mean, who's your 15? Because this is a guy that you might be maybe able to trade for him.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. My number 15 is Bryson Washington out of Baylor.
Mhm,
The guy really kind of busted on the scene last year, and really displayed a lot of toughness,
mhm.
pretty decent speed, good vision. And don't be surprised if Baylor ends up winning the Big 12 this year and moves on to the playoff. They got a really good quarterback. They have a really good running back in Bryson Washington,
Mhm.
and they got a couple really good pass catchers too. Probably going to talk about one next week. So let's kind of save that.
No, I absolutely love it. I agree. I mean, you talk about Bryson Washington. I know my guy Spencer, who I do the Devy Planet with on Wednesdays. He's really high on him. He's high on Baylor as a whole. But I mean, Bryson Washington, I think underrated bat because he's at Baylor. You don't really hear about what they're doing as much as you do these other teams. But he displays great vision. He displays great contact balance and pass catching ability. Really, an overall asset you want. I think the size may be a little bit there for him where it's kind of where people may be hesitant on because he's not
Yeah,
that big if I'm not
he's
mistaken.
about 205.
Okay, so that could be something where people are hesitant again with him being at Baylor, but I think he is a great asset that you could get him on the lower compared to some of these other guys, but still have a solid, viable asset at that next level as well. Now, that was it for our top 15 there. Again, our top 15 varies, and this is, guys that we're high on, guys that we see have a potential future at that next level and moving forward as well, and things are subject to change, right? Maybe we see Baxter get hurt again. It's like, okay, maybe we're out. Or maybe Baxter's healthy and he moves up to our RB1. Right now, this is where we're locked in with our guys as far as our RB top 15 running backs. Now, we're going to talk about some sleepers, though, as well. Some of our sleeper running backs moving forward. Tommy, do you want to talk about your first one here?
Yeah, my first one is James Peoples out of Ohio State. I know CJ Donaldson just transferred in there, but I think James Peoples is going to be their lead back. CJ Donaldson to me is a short yardage guy, whereas James Peoples is that dynamic back that Ohio State has used quite a bit recently. I he wasn't the highest rated running back coming into college. He was still a 4-star guy, but
Right.
Going into Ohio State, a lot of people expect them to get 5-star running backs. Peoples
Yeah.
wasn't that, but if you look at the at his high school film, he was pretty close.
Yeah,
Still really good. Um,
for sure.
Now, again, I know they got CJ Donaldson there. They just brought in Bo Jackson, but James Peoples to me could very well be an all Big Ten running back this year.
Sure, Donaldson. I like CJ Donaldson, but I don't think he's their top back. I mean, he's gonna be a solid back to get the sword and inches or to get the goal line touches because he's a bruiser. Where
Mhm.
people, as you mentioned, more dynamic. He's a little bit more elusive. You can move him around in different motions to really have him play different areas of the field if you wanted to really have that impact. I don't think you could do that with Donaldson. So in that sense, we might see a little bit more from James People there as well.
Yeah, to me, Donaldson's more of an H back than he is a running back. But
Yeah.
um, I mean, I think James Peoples is a 1,200-yard running back.
Yeah, yeah, it could be happening, especially at Ohio State. Now, mine is a freshman coming in at Ole Miss. This is Shakai Mills Knight. Now, Shakai Mills Knight, I think, could definitely be a back that we're talking about for a while at Ole Miss. He could really step in and be what Quinshon Junkin was. I feel like. I think this year if he's not taking the full range, he's still got 600 to 700 yards, which is gonna be pretty impactful. He's just a solid runner, in my opinion. Very strong runner, and going in SEC, you need that kind of strength and physicality, and I think Zakai Mills-Knight brings that to Ole Miss as well.
Yeah, see, I think you're probably going to be waiting another year or two for Sky Mills-Knight, just because they brought in a couple transfers. Logan Diggs is coming back. They brought in Damian Taylor. They brought in Kewan Lacey. So I think all three of those guys are ahead of Sky Mills-Knight right now. So I think you're probably a year or two away from really seeing what he can do.
That's fair. I'm not sold on Logan Diggs. I think if anyone's going to be Kewan
Lacey's always hurt.
Yeah, yep. So that's where I'm not even. I think Kewan Lacey's going to be their main, but that's what I'm saying. Zakai Mills, 600 yards, I think could lock him in, and that's not giving him the full range there quite yet. Now, who do you have at number 2?
My number 2 is Kaytron Brown out of Arizona State. Cam Scadaboo is gone from there, and Kaytron Brown has really demonstrated the same type of pass catching ability that Scadaboo did last year. Give him. He's not going to get the full workload just because they also brought in Kanye Udo out of Army. But Kaytron Brown is a really, really good running back. He's 6 foot, right at 200 pounds. I think he's going to be their 1A, and Udo's going to be their 1B. So Brown is going to have the opportunity to really showcase what he can do here.
Only watch more of Kaytron Brown's tape, if I'm being honest. But when it comes to him with Udo, I mean, Udo's very nice too. So it's going to be interesting to see what that competition looks like. And again, we're talking about some teams that didn't use that kind of RB1A, RB1B. So are they going to be able to transition to that? Or is one guy going to take the full range? Because I love seeing both guys feed in and get the opportunity to really succeed. But if one pulls away, who is that going to be? It could be Brown, it could be Udo. So that's going to be some time to tell. I'll get back to you on my analysis on Brown. Watch some more tape on that. Now, my guy, you've already talked about him, but he's one of my sleepers because I feel you have him in your top 15. I don't feel a lot of people know about him, so I'm ecstatic that you did. But that's Texas Tech running back Quinton Joyner. Again, I thought he was a top back at USC. Didn't become the RB1. It was Woody Marks. But I think Joyner is going to Texas Tech, is going to really showcase it and really be an RB that we're talking about as a top RB next year, potentially as well. Who is your third sleeper here?
My third is Jam Miller out of Alabama. He was really their lead back last year. Even with Justice Haynes there. So if he can run Justice Haynes out of town, basically, and really he's going to be their lead back this year again. And he's probably going to be the bulk of the running too. I don't really see anybody else that's going to just step up and take over that job from him. So I think he's going to be over 1,000 yards. They don't have Jalen Milroe, who's going to be running all over the place.
Right.
So they're really looking at Ty Simpson.
Yeah.
I mean,
who?
Exactly. You know how I feel about Ty Simpson. I don't think he's all that great. He had his opportunity a couple of years ago and almost lost to South Florida. So but I think Jam Miller's going to have a really, really good season, and he's going to jump up a lot of draft boards because of it.
I think so too. I think is good. He could be a late day 2. He could be like a late round 3 possibly, but definitely a day 4. Which you'll take that into. It still doesn't mean anything. 3rd round, 4th round, 5 in my opinion when it comes to the running backs.
Well, just look at running backs who went undrafted. Arian Foster went undrafted.
Yeah, for sure.
He was an All-Pro. So
yeah. No, I absolutely love Jam Miller. Though I think he could be a great back. I mentioned I have Akylin higher, but it is Jam Miller's backfield to lose. I think again he's underrated because everyone was focused on Jalen Milroe and what he's doing and his playmaking ability to rush out the pocket and things of that nature. A lot of it, though, was Jam Miller was doing some good things in the backfield, too, whether it was picking up some blitzes or really just making the plays on the ground to move the chains that we didn't see Milroe bombing down the field to Ryan Williams as well. So absolutely love that. I do think he is an underrated back that a lot of people sleep on. And Kaytron Allen, you probably get Jam Miller plus for Kaytron Allen, to be honest, because Kaytron Allen has that name to him at Penn State being a dual running back with Nick Singleton as well. Now, my number 3 is another running back that I feel is kind of in a similar tier with Jam Miller as far as you just not talking about him a lot, and that's Texas A&M's running back Le'Veon Moss. Now, Le'Veon Moss displays great vision, He displays great agility to hit the holes quickly. Also, a solid pass catcher as well. The lead back at A&M, because Ruben Owens can't stay healthy as well. We're talking about people that can't stay. Ruben Owens was a top prospect, and honestly, if Ruben Owens was healthy, he might be their lead guy. But Le'Veon Moss has stayed healthy; he has been their guy, and I think we're not talking enough about him. As far as a Devy asset, he could be someone that again just fits in that committee. I don't see him as a full workhorse type of back, but he could fit into the committee and just be a good third down specialist that still gets you some solid points on a fantasy level or even just at a pro level as well. So that's my third sleeper there.
Yeah, I like Moss. To me, he's a home run hitter.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he can break a big one basically anytime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, he could definitely be so that takes it to the next level. And you'll probably end up getting him in the third round, fourth round, even though rookie drafts as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's our sleepers here. Before we get into our guys that we're selling out on right now, we're gonna get into, as you know, every episode we do a mock. So with the mock draft today, Tommy, take it away with our running back mock draft.
Yeah, the 101 is Nate Frazier out of Georgia, sophomore. So he has a couple more years before he hits the NFL. 102 Darius Taylor out of Minnesota. 103 Nick Singleton. 104 Jeremiah Love. 105 Mekhi Hughes. 106 Justice Haynes. Those five are 2026 draft eligible, so watch out for them. 107, Caden Durham. 108, Jaden Ball, both of them sophomores. 109, CJ Baxter. 110, Jonah Coleman. 111, Trey Wisner. They are all also 26 eligible. And then 112, Akylin Deer.
I love the draft that you walked up here. And I will say, you mentioned people. We talked about this past year as a solid running back class. Don't get me wrong. I think this past year running back class was better than this year. But you brought up some solid names in the potential 2026 running back class that people shouldn't sleep on, because I know I've said it before. It's the year the quarterback this upcoming year. Even if Arch Manning sits out and or Lenore Sellers stays, there's still solid quarterbacks coming out. But you're talking about the running backs: Darius Taylor, Nick Singleton, Jeremiah Love, Mekhi Hughes, Justin Haynes, CJ Baxter, Jonah Coleman, Travion Wisner. All these guys are solid running backs that if they do end up coming out, because I think some of them will have that extra year of eligibility if they want to stay. Yep. If they do end up coming out, though, these are running backs to take a hit on, and they don't have to be Bijan Robinson and Jamar Gibbs in the first round. They don't have to be Austin Jency. They don't have to be Quinshawn Judkins, Travion Henderson in the early second. These are guys that can slip into day two. Some have potential first round, but there's also guys that take on that day four that still should be a running back you consider within the mid-second at the very least to go in there. If not, going up forward, that's if they get the capital. So I absolutely love it. I think these running backs all have solid potential.
Yeah, when we're talking about draft capital, just remember these GMs don't know everything either. Remember when Clyde Edwards-Helaire was taken in the first round over J.K. Dobbins? Yep. J.K. Dobbins was the clear RB1 of that class. Yep. And somehow Clyde Edwards-Helaire went in the first round of the Chiefs and had a decent rookie year and then was really never heard from again. So,
you talked about undrafted running backs too. Priest Holmes, Arian Foster, guys that went undrafted as well. We're watching the tape. These JMs, sometimes they get guys that will sell the merch, rather than drafting the guys that will actually win them the Super Bowl as well. We don't know what's going on in the rooms. We can only predict based on what we see. And when, we say, hey, we're right, we're like, what did the GM do, right? And that happens a lot, believe it or not, that we're like, why did you take this guy over this guy? Oh, I guess you're going to pay. And they end up paying as well. They lose money or they just lose games. And, that still hits the pockets there as well. Now, next, we're going into our sell now running backs. Tommy, who are you hitting now for your sell now?
I am selling off Nick Singleton and Justice Haynes right now. I think both of them. I think they're, especially Nick Singleton. I think his stock is about as high as it's going to get. And with Justice Haynes, he's getting a lot of preseason buzz right now. So his stock has kind of risen over the last couple months, especially considering where it was. So if you're not a big believer that Justice Haynes can become that kind of lead running back for you, go ahead and dump him onto somebody who's hyping him up right now. Nick Singleton, kind of the same thing. his stock is about as high as it's ever going to be.
Right.
So if you don't believe that he's going to be a big time NFL running back, go and dump him to somebody who will.
Right. Especially if you're someone that believes Kaytron Allen is the tougher guy. Go get Kaytron Allen plus for Nick Singleton, or trade that. I mean, or someone's down on him. This is opportunity for that. I agree with both those guys. Is I think you can't get higher value for them right now. Singleton, I don't think his value is going to necessarily get lower, but I don't, as you mentioned, it's not getting higher. It's just a plateau right now.
Yeah.
For Haynes, I think he has more potential to possibly get lower if Jordan Marshall comes out there and shows anything as well.
Just the Saints could also possibly get higher, but the problem is you don't know right now.
Yeah.
So
cast out. Sometimes it's better to sell while you can than sell where it's too late. Which leads me to my guys.
You don't get caught in that Malachi
Nelson.
Malachi Nelson, kind of situation where he was the QB1 coming into college, and now he's at UTEP. So
now he's not in our top 30, top 40, top 50 maybe. Now my running backs, these guys may have a little bit more value, but I mean this is where I'm saying it. I have Notre Dame's Jeremiah Love and Minnesota's Darius Taylor. Jeremiah Love is just very tricky with running backs, and right now he's considered the RB1 of the class. Where let's just say he doesn't get first round buzz and it's just second round, or he has an off season. Right now, you have him as an RB1 type of class. Go get Nate Frazier plus for him. Go get some of these other guys that I feel can be top guys, or even some of your freshmen. Get a package of Harlem Berry and maybe some other guys for him that have potential as well. Because Jeremiah Love, I think, has crazy, crazy hype right now that he's, again, consensus RB1. But we know the running backs is probably the most, what's the word I'm looking for?
Volatile.
Yeah, as far as when it comes to positions, right? The wide receivers, I think, is the safest. Quarterbacks, you're pretty safe. RBs, anything can happen. And one injury hurts an RB a lot more than it hurts the wide receivers quarterback. So Jeremiah Love, with that being it, having a great season last year, his first full great season, go and trade it. Darius Taylor, I absolutely love this guy. I think you mentioned it. I'm not sure if I mentioned it. He could be the RB1 overall in Devy. Thing is, he hasn't stayed healthy. Even last year, he was banged up a little bit. He hasn't stayed fully healthy. Right. Can he be sure? But because you already know that's a risk, go ahead and go trade him for some high capital as well. Not just draft capital, but also players as well that may have that hype. He's a great player. Don't get me wrong. But even we talk about, taking a jump from like Louisiana Monroe to the SEC to the big leagues. Taking a jump from a Big Ten, from a Minnesota to the NFL is even a bigger jump because everyone's good in the NFL. You can be a third string and still light someone up, right? So this is an opportunity for you that if Darius Taylor's already getting banged up a little bit here in Minnesota, what kind of makes you think that's not necessarily going to happen in the NFL? Of course, we're not saying that he could get healthy, get new nutrition, things of that nature, but because of that, I think you have a high chance to go and trade and get some nice value out of him.
Typically, guys don't get healthier when they move into the NFL.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of hurts him a little bit more. I mean, maybe he gets on Derrick Henry's regimen of what he's eating and stuff. Spending $100K on his nutrition, So, but that's what we have in our sell now running backs. We gave y'all our top 15. We gave y'all our sleepers. We gave y'all our mock draft. We gave you our sell now running backs. We are the Devy Degens. Now, before we go, if you're looking for the best value for Devy leagues, tell me, where are you going to find out how you can maneuver some of these guys?
Yeah, head on over to Dynasty Trade Calculator. Find out where Kaytron Allen is valued. You can find out where Le'Veon Moss is valued. You can find out, Darius Taylor's value, Nate Frazier, kind of compared to what NFL running backs are, even. So head on over there to Dynasty Trade Calculator. Subscribe. I think it's $4.99 a month over there. So head on over there, subscribe, and kind of use it as a tool to make your deals.
For sure. That's what we're doing. We're putting all our trades into the Dynasty Trade Calculator. We're putting the Devy rankings in there to help you adjust when you're making these Devy values and these Devy trades. So go there, subscribe to it, get your best value out of these guys. Don't trade them for cheap. Go there and get some solid value. Until next time, I am S.C. Romero. That is Tommy Hardy. We are the Devy Degens. We appreciate everyone tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and we will see y'all next Monday.
Double guns.